Most of our lives are inherently complicated enough.
Don't remind me.
Yet, we seem to have a knack for making them even more complicated than they need to be.
That's my specialty.
Here are 5 completely nonsensical ways that we further complicate our already complicated lives. Number 1, we're afraid to ask. How many times have you found yourself racking your brain for days, weeks, months on end, only to eventually find the solution when someone tells it to you?
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I'm not suggesting that we need to turn to everybody for everything, but there are a lot of instances where we further complicate our lives by figuring that we need to do it all ourselves. We let our ego run the show, rather than just seeking out the solution from someone who's either done it before or has a wealth of experience in that realm and letting them expedite us to the answer.
Thank you.
Number 2, we spend outside of our means. I know that completely avoiding debt is not feasible for most of us in this world, and that's not what I'm suggesting with this point.
Oh, thank God.
What I'm instead suggesting is that we stop further complicating our lives by giving into things that make us fit in or make us come across a certain way by spending money on them that we don't necessarily have. Choose to not indebt yourself even further than you already are, and instead be comfortable with who you are and what you have around you.
I believe you.
Number 3, we're driven by instant gratification. One of the most common ways that we all complicate our lives more than necessary is when we let all of our decision making be driven by instant gratification.
I am very sure that I don't know what you're talking about.
One of the biggest realms that we actually see this played out firsthand is in the realm of our dietary choices or food. Instead of doing the things that we know are good for us or that nourish our bodies long term, we do the things that taste good in our taste buds instantaneously. The less we are driven solely by instant gratification and instead see a bigger picture to things, the less complicated our lives will become.
It's about damn time.
Number 4, we complain for the sympathy. While complaining as soon as something happens to us can be a good way to kind of release the whole experience or to further process it, there are far too many of us that overcomplicate our lives by continuing to complain about something over and over and over again to everybody that we possibly can just to get ourselves some more sympathy.
Wow.
What's sympathy? Sympathy is just instant gratification, but it's a very cheap instant gratification because most of the time it's not even genuine from the other person. Rather than complicating your lives by continuing to complain about things that are well in the past, put them in the past where they belong.
Are you messing with me right now?
Number 5, we're reactive rather than proactive. This one naturally speaks for itself. Rather than being so reactive to things, we wait for symptoms or diagnoses to come up that kind of force our hand to make changes in our lives. We should instead be more proactive to avoid complicating things of ever getting to the point where those things need to come up.
You just blew my mind.
I'm not suggesting that if we're all proactive, nothing bad will ever happen to us, but we do at least mitigate our chances of the unnecessary things coming up. Take care of yourself, not only in the health sense, but in the mental sense, and every sense of your life by being proactive rather than waiting for shit to hit the fan.
Oh, you're right.
To see a new video like this weekly, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to like me on Facebook to be a part of my mission to make personal development more interesting for both of us.
Give me the good stuff.